Welcome all to Majesticpiece Theater's production of Aristophanes' Lysistrata. Set during the fiery passions of the Peloponnesian War, a group of women, dismayed by the prolonged fighting, now in its third decade, endeavors to force the hands of their husbands and lovers to bring an end to it and achieve peace, all by waging a battle of their own. But as to the tactics they choose to employ, I will not say. Instead, let us join our heroine, Lysistrata, as she paces the flagstones of a public square, steeling herself for the task at hand.
What was I thinking? As if everyone doesn't already have a lot on their minds right now. It wasn't like I could just come out and say what I am calling for them to do. Maybe I should have said it was for some festival, some great drunken bacchanal with wine to loosen their nerves and lewdness to appeal to their senses. It always seems to work for our men. Either they end up crying, half asleep, slurring their words, or they transform themselves into the topmost heavy soldier of fortune and end up picking fights with the nearest statue. No, they need to be clear-headed for what I have called for them to do. Oh, Athena, am I wise to do this? No. The time has come for me to put my foot down. This is my battle, and I must fight it, even if I fight it alone. Where is Kalanaike? The sun is setting, and the men have sunk into their cups for the night.
Oh, good day, Lysistrata. Or should I say good evening? I have come as you asked, and I have done as you requested.
You sent the message to the others, asking them to join us.
Yes, though I still do not know for why you have gathered us. Judging by the darkness that furrows your brow, I fear it is not a happy gathering that awaits us.
What happiness have we had these 30 long years? Do we remember how it feels? No, the task that lays before me will not be easy, but I believe truly that it is right. Are you with me?
Yes, dear sister, I am, but may I ask why?
What powers exist in this world? But what powers are we given? I sometimes fear for our sex. We allow ourselves to be led. But why is that fair when our partners, our men, seem not to be leading us in the rightful path?
Oh, I fear your words, O Lysistrata. What is it you ask of us?
When the others appear, I will say.
But
I ask you if you were with me.
I am. But sister, I fear I am not at ease.
Our men will see us as sly and tricky. They expect it of us, and so they will try to keep us pliable, docile, and quiet.
So I am not wrong.
I have been unable to sleep at night, my mind on fire with the whole matter.
The matter?
For 30 years, we have watched from afar as this war drags on. Its cause faded from our memory, replaced with a bull-headed desire to be the one to look weak.
But what can we do? We are women. What power do we have?
Did they send reply? Are they coming?
You know it is hard for women to go out in the best of time. Yes, they said they would come, but are you sure, dear sister? Your eyes are like deep wine-dark seas, stormy, misted, and you seem so distant in their depths. Are you sure of it, whatever it is that you have in mind?
They will come, and we will do it. We will save Greece. We have to. The fortunes of our country, the futures of our children depend on it. Are you with me?
Yes.
They will come. And through us, together, Athenians, Corinthians, Mycenaeans, and Spartans.
Spartans? You can't be serious. The gods have afflicted your mind. The Spartan... women, if they could be called as such. Why would they agree to anything? They look at us and see us as weak, as ornaments to be dressed in yellow frocks, kept at home by our men to stoke the fire and bear the children and bend to their wills.
That is why we need them. If they can have a spine of granite, why can't we? Others may see us as soft, given over to bouts of melancholy and love, but that softness may be the anchor that ensures our success, that holds us firm. We see the cost of this war in a way our fathers, our husbands and sons, in their hard-headedness, do not.
And you truly think you can bring an end to it?
I will try.
What a thought. The women of Greece, united.
When we are done, no man will wield a lance against another man. They will not have want of their shields. They will only have want of their slippers. And if we stand firm, of us.
But how?
Shh. I hear someone approach.
We're not late, are we?
No, you're here in time.
Oh, I would have been here earlier, but I just couldn't find my girdle, and I couldn't possibly be seen outside without it. But your message, it seemed to imply that my presence would be of the utmost importance.
It is. But where are the others? Have they not come?
My friend from Lacedonia, I met her, is coming. I met her briefly on the road here.
Good. For if we are to succeed, we need our sisters from the Peloponnese to join arms with us and stand strong.
Are you sure this is wise? They are who we are fighting against, after all.
Have faith, sister. They will want the war ended as much as we do. Have trust in that. We have wasted too much time, fortune, and blood killing each other. We need women of all walks and from all states should we be able to bring this to an end.
I hear her approach. The women of Sparta never enter without their feet making much noise.
Lampito, my dear friend, how handsome you look this night, and how strong. A rampaging bull would face its match in you.
Aye, you do me compliment. If not a horned bull, I can at least tame my husband, horned or otherwise. But I will say, I do make sure I do my gymnastics and my...
And what ample bosoms.
Aye, with such kind words, it is like you are making me a beast, dressed to be sacrificed to the gods.
And who is this friend you have brought with you?
It is Ismenia of Boeotia.
My dear Ismenia, welcome. I trust that your travels have been pleasant.
She doesn't speak, poor thing. I don't know if she can or just chooses not to. I think she might have suffered something fierce, and it robbed her of her voice.
Oh, my dear, how sad. To think someone should be robbed of their own will to speak, to be heard. We will stand with you and be your voice if need be. I welcome you with the same enthusiasm I welcome the others.
Is this all of us?
Kalanike.
These are the ones who returned my messages.
Then yes, it is all of us.
Kalanike said in her letter that it was of the utmost importance that I come. I do not travel to Athens on a whim.
It is of the greatest importance, dear friend.
So what is it?
For nearly 30 years this war has dragged on. We have watched from afar as our husbands, our fathers, our lovers, and our sons have taken up arms against each other, fighting to spill blood, seize land, and defend one's pride. It has carried on so long that now those which we have sent to the front of the line to face the gravest of dangers, they were not even alive when this war ignited. And do they know why they fight it? do any of us remember what caused it?
I seem to remember who took the first aggression.
This is what I was talking about, Lysistrata. The Peloponnesians only come to battle. It is all they know how to do.
Typical Athenian arrogance. Do you think we Spartans are dullards? We may be broad with strength, but we are deep with wits.
Oh, as if.
I did not travel this far to be insulted by a vain waif not accustomed to wielding a blade heavier than a kitchen knife.
Oh, is this the famous Spartan wit?
You should be grateful I left my blade at home.
Enough! I will be the first to say that Athens is not without fault. But nothing I can say can change that the war has happened and continues to happen with no end in sight. Even the Pythia doesn't foretell a conclusion to it. It is now up to us, who have suffered from afar, to take our stand. That is why I've called you here. So, my sisters, will you put aside your prejudices that have fueled this damned war? Lampedo.
I will.
Kalonike. Sister.
Fine. For Greece.
Then let there be no more bitter rivalry. We, the women of Greece, so often counted out and disregarded, must seize from within each and every one of us the drive to bring it to an end. We must not allow ourselves to be driven by the petty gossip and snipping that so often is the image superimposed upon our gender, all to critique us as weak and feeble-minded. We must stand united or fail in our task by our divisions. For we have the power they assume we lack, and we can, if we band together, we can end this war at last.
And how, my dear Lysistrata, do we do this?
By taking away the one thing which our men have come to expect when they return home. It is that which is first on their mind, once they have hung up their shields. It is the spark that ignites their fire in their eyes.
You don't mean... No, surely not.
Yes, admit it. No sooner have they entered our homes and kicked off their sandals, what is it they expect from us? Having tried to conquer their enemies, they return, a lust for power, dwelling not in their heads, but in their spears, seeking to conquer us. This, my sisters, is the power we hold.
Sex?
Oh, yes.
And what do you propose we do?
We don't give in to their lusting. It is the one thing we have a say in. Until they bring this war to an end, to make peace and consolation, we will not give in to their advances. Let them make a courting dance all they want, trying to seduce us from our moral high ground, but do not give in.
And do you really think they would put up with that?
You of all people. I would have thought you would jump at this. The women of Sparta are famous for their power and their position. You are allowed to hold property, to hold wealth in your own rights, and divorce your husbands by your own recognizance.
Yes, but still.
Still what? Still what?
Admit it, everyone gathered here. Sex, well, it's kind of fun. Don't we find joy in it? The animalistic urges, the courting, the battle, the dance of it all. It's thrilling, exhilarating, filling. I mean, fulfilling.
All the reason that it should be the power we hold over our men.
Wait, you guys get enjoyment out of it?
Oh.
I mean, sure, it's something you do, but it never seemed like that big of a deal. And do we not owe it to our husbands?
Are you saying you've never felt The rush?
Rush?
Maybe her husband can't measure up to the task.
I don't understand.
Be kind, dear sisters.
But you do acknowledge that we would be shooting ourselves in the foot. We get something from it too. And through it, we bring sons into the world. Strong, fierce, and powerful.
And why should we, the women of Greece, not be strong, fierce, and powerful also?
She's making fun of me, isn't she?
No, Mahirni. Just put it from your mind.
Sisters, we are not here to fight each other. The task ahead of us was far more important.
You do realize they're men. They will just find it somewhere else. When my husband left for battle, I went out to procure myself a leathern constellation a full 8 inches. It is not like we could stop them from seeking it out from the local brothel. They are hungry wolves when deprived.
We will carry the message far and wide of our quest, spread it to all the women of Greece, swear them to secrecy so the men do not suspect.
And you think it could work?
Do not give in to doubt. Think of what is at stake. Decades more of foolish fighting. This war is now fought out of habit, not righteous pursuit. No party wants to be the one to look weak. Blood spilled for nothing more than vanity and pride.
Lysistrata, there must be anything but this.
And you, Myrone?
How can I? I would rather walk through fire.
What of you, Lampedo?
The goddesses know that this is a hard thing to ask of any women. To be asked to sleep beside their husbands, having denied them, having denied ourselves our own pleasure.
And do you not want your husbands, your fathers and your sons to return and to stay, free from the call of the battlefield?
Of course I do.
More than anything.
Myrone, what say you?
Yes, I want him home.
Even if he doesn't give you the thrill.
Oh, Lampino, peace, peace.
Oh, fine, I will hold my teasing.
But if we are to do this, how can you guarantee? Will this not inflame their anger even more? Why should we expect peace for forcing upon ourselves and our husbands abstinence?
By the goddess's will, what is to stop our victory? Sure, we are expected to demurely paint our faces, baste ourselves in the subtle touch of alluring silk, and employ our charms to pamper and fluff the egos of our men. They expect it of us. Show them the inner strength within us. They will have no choice but to listen to our argument. We will employ our art, but not give in to their lust. We will charm their senses and inflame their passions, but hold our ground until they relent to our wishes.
As Menelaus laid eyes upon the naked bosoms of Helen, did he throw away his sword? As they say?
What if our husbands refuse and they just leave us?
Then what kind of men are they? If faced with the moral choice of ending bloodshed, they would abandon their families instead? No, we will flay them like a skinned dog, as Philocrates says.
And what if they grab us and drag us into the bedchamber to take their prize regardless?
Then grab the doorpost with all your might.
And should they beat us for disobedience?
Then yield. But torment them in the act. Give them no satisfaction, so there is no pleasure to be had in it. Maim their egos by letting no utterance of ecstasy slip thy lips. There can be no satisfaction for the man if the woman does not share in it. When time comes to pass, we can punish them for the act in a way only a woman's mind can devise.
Then I am with you.
As am I.
And I.
It will take the very depths of our will to convince our husbands of this. But what of the Athenian people? How will we convince them to abandon their warlike posture?
Hey, what?
Fear not, for I undertake this to make my own people see reason.
I fear the task may prove impossible as long as their ships of war and their trove of treasures hold up in the temple of Athena.
Did you think I would have not taken precautions in that matter? As we speak, I have already entrusted my fellow Athenian women to enter the Acropolis. They have gone on the pretext of making sacrifices to the gods. On our arrival, we will seize the citadel and slam the door shut to all who enter unless they agree to hear our terms. Their treasures will be the carrot that keeps them from acting too rashly.
Well, it would seem you have some of the Spartan knack for strategy. Are you sure you are not secretly of Dorian blood?
A woman driven to desperation will leave nothing to chance.
Maybe we are more alike than I originally thought.
Then will you all recite the oath and bind our pact? Will you raise your voice to the goddess Athena or the spark of your spirit?
Cite the terms, Lysistrata.
Lempido, lay your buckler upon the ground so that we may lay a sacrifice upon it.
But what kind?
Well, Aeschylus wrote of sacrificing a sheep. Kalanike, did you by chance bring one?
I thought you would, as I was tasked with sending the messages to all you thought might come tonight, and one could not possibly swear for peace on an instrument of war.
Then, if over no buckler, what other oath would you prefer we take?
A white horse?
Would take too long to procure and far too expensive.
Then let's set a great bowl on the ground. Let's sacrifice a skin of Phasian wine into it and take an oath not to add one single drop of water.
Now, the prospects of that pleases me more than I can say.
I shall set the bowl upon the ground. Lay your hands on the victim. Almighty Goddess Persuasion, charitable comrade of joy and merriment, receive this, our sacrifice, and rain blessings to us poor women.
Oh, how red the fine wine flows.
May it fortify us for the battle ahead.
May we be worthy of it. Well said, sister.
Then let me swear it first.
Let us each swear it in our turn and in the depths of our souls.
I will have naught to do whether with lover or husband.
I will have naught to do whether with lover or husband.
Even if he come to me with strength and passion.
Even if he come to me with strength and passion.
I will live at home in perfect chastity.
I will live at home in perfect chastity.
Beautifully dressed and wearing a saffron-colored gown.
Beautifully dressed and wearing a saffron-colored gown.
Wafted in the more alluring of smells.
Wafted in the more alluring of smells.
To the end I may inspire my husband with the most ardent longings.
To the end I may inspire my husband with the most ardent longings.
To his pleadings I will be cold as ice and never stir a limb.
To his pleadings I will be cold as ice and never stir a limb.
I will not aid him in any way.
I will not aid him in any way.
Nor will I crouch like carven lions on a knife handle.
Nor will I crouch like carven lions on a knife handle.
And if I keep my oath, may I be suffered to drink of this wine.
And if I keep my oath,
may I be suffered to drink of this wine.
But if I break it, let my bowl be filled with water.
But if I break
it, let my bowl be filled with water.
Then let us drain this bowl and cement our pact.
Hark, what din is this that disrupts our oath?
Drink deeply, sisters, for the Acropolis has been taken, and this night we take our stand. If our husbands will not end the war, we swear off all carnal joy until the reconciliations of Athens and the Peloponnese.
And what if they do not take our demands?
Then let them volley their threats, but do so in vain, for we have slammed the doors of our temples to them. They will laugh. Neither fire nor threats will force our doors, unless our conditions are met.
By the grace of Aphrodite,
the passion of Athena,
and the
righteousness of Hera,
let us prove ourselves spiteful as they claim us to be.
Their oaths sealed, their bonds made, Lysistrata and her phalanx of followers have entered the Acropolis and bolted the door shut against all who would dare to force entry. The clatter of their protest continues to ring out, but word of their actions, of their cause, have already spread like wildfire, and women from the highlands of Polidia to the waters which lap the shores of Cythera have taken up the charge. Now, as the sun rises upon the steps of the great citadel of Athens, we find the men beginning to stir, risen with the sun, in more ways than one.
Break the door open! Break the door down, men of Athens! Do not stop, even for the chafing of your shoulders under the weight of the olive stalks. To believe that once more we would be called to break free our citadel from the knavery of unworthy usurpers, and lo, to have it free from the vindictiveness of our own wives. The shame they bring. Do we not allow them to dwell within our houses and sate themselves on our bread? Do we not give them the pleasure to lie beside us? And now they deny us our due, seize for themselves the treasury of our wealth, and mock our God's given rights. Gather dry wood, for if we must, we will smoke them out and burn this door to the ground. And should they be singed by the flames, there will be nothing to the fires of our righteous anger. Cleomenes himself, the first who ever seized our citadel, had to quit it to his sore dishonor. Spite his Lacedaemonian pride, he had to deliver me up his arms and slink off with a single garment to his back. My word, but he was filthy and ragged. And what an unkempt beard. He had not taken a bath 6 long years. Oh, but that was a mighty siege. Our men were ranked 17 deep before the gates, and never left their porch, even to sleep. Good. Place the sticks upon the door, and fan the flames who will get these insolent harpies out soon enough.
By the trickery of Eris, what do they mean by this conflagration? Surely not do they mean to burn the Acropolis down, and my sisters within it. Good thing I was detained by the ruckus of the streets in my task of gathering up water. Let me pass, I say!
What do you mean by interfering, woman?
This sacred citadel will not be destroyed by the flames of your egos, not if I have any say of it.
Insolent!
We frighten you, do we? We seem a mighty host, yet you do not see the 10,000th part of our sex.
such words. Perhaps if one of us were to break your back with a stick.
Then shall I place my water pot on the ground? If you see fit to threaten me with violence, do you think I bend to your will should you strike me?
Or perhaps we should knock out a few of your teeth. Let's see you spout your obstinate words then.
Come on, then. I wake you with unflinching foot, and I will snap you off like a bitch.
Be silent, or my stick shall shut court your gaze.
Now do you dare to touch I, Stratylus, with the tip of your gnarled finger, all because we refuse the tip of your shrunken root?
Then shall I pummel you with my fist? What then will you do?
I will tear out your lungs and entrails with my teeth if you try to fist me.
Oh, what a clever poet is Euripides. How well he says that woman is the most shameless of animals. And what do you mean to do with that?
What do you mean by setting the Acropolis ablaze, old death in life? Do you intend to cremate yourself?
I will build a pyre and roast your accursed harlots alive.
I will continue to extinguish it. By Artemis, I will call forth the arrows of her virginal rays to strike you down.
Then I shall break your bowl and burn you with this torch.
But I have come to prepare you a bath, to clean you of your pungent filth.
Dear old dog!
Oh dear, was the water too hot? You are too emotional. I simply was watering you to help you bloom anew. Such dainty little flowers are thee, it seems.
What noise is this that rouses a fever in the citizens of Athens?
The women. They've locked themselves in the Acropolis, barring the door to us.
Ah, what din do they raise up, banging on their pots and their tambourines, keening for want of Adonis? Were you at the last assembly day? Demostratus, whom heaven confounds, was saying we must all go over to Sicily. And lo, his wife was dancing round, repeating, Alas, alas, Adonis, woe is me for Adonis. Demostratus was saying we must levy hoplites at Zacynthus. And lo, his wife, more than half drunk, was screaming on the roof, Weep, weep for Adonis. Do you not blush, you women, for your wild and uproarious doings?
Blush, blush! Have you not yet heard their cacophonous decrees? They have abused us and insulted our being and our place. They have soused us with their water pots, setting us to wring out our robes, looking as if we had pissed ourselves.
And surely have they exclaimed, 'Tis done well, and by Poseidon no less. We men must share the blame. For we have taught them unwisely to value the riot. We have sowed the seeds of wickedness in their hearts. You see, a husband go into a shop. Look you, jeweler, says he, you remember the necklace you made for my wife? Well, the other evening when she was dancing, the catch came open. Now, I am bound to start for Salome. Will you make it convenient to go up tonight to make her fastening secure? Another will go to the cobbler, a great strong fellow with a great long tool, and tell him the strap of one of my wife's sandals presses her little toe, which is extremely sensitive. Come in about midday to supple the thing and stretch it. Now, see the results. Take my own case. As a magistrate, I have enlisted rowers. I want money to pay them. And lo, the women clap to the door in my face. But why do we stand here with arms crossed? Bring me a crowbar and force open the gates. I will put a hand to the work myself.
There is no need for you to force the gates. I will come out willingly. If you wonder why we use bolts and bars, in truth, I say to you, we want not bolts and bars, but common sense.
What manners, my fine lady, to surrender yourself so readily. It is good that I have brought my officer, for he could bind your hands behind your back.
Surrender. I was not under the impression that I have. By Artemis, the virgin goddess, if he so much touches me with a single finger, officer of the peace though he may be, he will have to look out for himself.
How now, are you afraid? Seize her, I tell you, round the body. 2 of you at her. Have done with it.
No!
Ah.
She speaks. She speaks! See what passion you stir up, even within the most silent of our kind? A voice raised I thought I would never hear. My dear sister, you do me great kindness.
By Phoebe, if you touch her with one finger, you'd better call quick for a surgeon.
What do you mean? Officer, where are you got to? Lay a hold of her. Oh, but I'm going to stop your foolishness for you all.
By the Tauric Artemis, if you go near her, I'll pull out your hair. Scream as you like!
Misery. Deserted by my own officers? The cowards, leaving me to be bested by a mob of scolds. Ho! Scythians, close up your ranks and forward.
By the goddesses, you will find yourself up against 4 companies of women, armed to the hilt and unafraid to run you through.
Forward, Scythians, and bind them!
Forward, my gallant companions, march forth, ye vendors of grain and egg, garlic and vegetables, keepers of taverns and bakers, wrench and strike and tear. Come, a torrent of invective and insult!
Cease this at once!
Curse you, band of harpies!
Enough! Cease.
When my officers return, they will have their way with you all.
Did you think you would only face down docile servants? Did you believe your wives and daughters to be demure, passive, free from the scourge of hopes, dreams, and passions? You clearly did not assume that anger could dwell within the breast of a woman born free.
Passion? Ha! Yes, by Apollo, passion indeed, for the wine cup.
Sir, why waste your words on such wild beasts as these? After they assaulted me?
Are Athenians not allowed to defend themselves from threats and attacks? I speak for myself when I say that I would prefer to be able to stay home, like a young maid, to relax and not dwell on the dark clouds over the horizon. But we have been driven from that happy prospect by more pressing matters. So, if you choose to try to break your stick on my back again, I warn you, when you stir the wasp's nest, you better expect its sting.
Ah, great gods. How do we get the better of these ferocious creatures? It is now past all bearing. But come, let us try to find out the reason of the dreadful scourge. With what end in view have they seized this citadel, this sacred shrine that is raised upon the inaccessible rock of the Acropolis? Question them, be cautious, and not too credulous.
Why have you seen fit to seize and bar these gates?
Is it not obvious? To seize the treasury. With no money, there can be no more war.
As if money is the cause of the war?
It certainly fuels it. How many men have followed in the footsteps of Pisander, constantly raising revolution in pursuit of other bounty? And have they not, in turn, used the spoils of war to fund and justify further bloodshed? Oh no, we will control the treasury now. and not a drachma will be spent on the heat of battle.
And what do you propose we do, pray tell?
What a thing to ask. Is it not obvious? We the women shall administer the treasury.
You? In charge of Athens' wealth?
How should this be shocking? Do we not administer the budgets of our households?
Oh, hardly like for like.
And how are they different?
Well, for one thing, if the treasury is closed, then there's no way to provide for the expense of war.
Wow! If only we women had thought of that. This is, after all, our stated principle. No more war.
And what of the defense of the city? You would leave us totally exposed if you were to stop the funding of our armies.
Oh, but we will see to that.
You?
Yes, just we.
Oh, what a sorry business this.
We will save you, whether you will... Either we will save you, whether you will it or not.
Oh, you impudent creatures.
Oh, you seem so annoyed.
What? But this is the height of inequity.
Really?
What if we don't want to be saved?
Well, then all the more reasons to do it.
But what right does a woman have in matters of peace and war?
Not a right.
If you will calm yourselves, I will gladly explain it to you. And please tell me if I need to slow down.
You better hurry up before I lose my temper.
Then maybe you should learn to control yourself. Men, so emotional.
Silence, you old crow!
Ah!
For nearly 30 years, we women have remained in modest silence on the matters of peace and war, as you call it. We have been there, tending to your thirsts, as you gather in our homes, plotting your next steps. We listened. Oh, yes, as you spun every strategy, debating ever more erratic response as you sank deeper in your cups. And on assembly days, with sadness in our hearts and hope on the verge of our lips, we asked you if you had found a reconciliation and brought peace to Greece. Mind your own business, our husbands would growl, and hold your tongue. And we would do so, to suffer in silence.
I would not have held my tongue had I known it would be 30 years long.
You would have been reduced to silence by blows by now.
We won't let them touch a hair on your head, dear sister. Be strong.
Well, for my part, I would say no more. But I would come to know they had arrived at some fresh decision, more fatally foolish than ever. Ah, my dear man, I would say, what madness next? But he would only look at me askance and say, just weave your web, else your cheeks will smart for hours. War is men's business.
Hear, hear.
Bravo! Well said indeed. Your husband is a truly wise man.
How now, wretched man? Not to let us control against your follies was bad enough. But presently we heard you asking out loud in the open street, "Is there never a man left in Athens?" And, "No, not one, not a one." You were assured in reply. It was then we made up our minds, without more delay, to make common cause to save Greece. Open your ears to our wise counsels and hold your tongues, and we may yet put things on better footing.
Ha! You put things indeed. Oh, how high you think you have risen, you wretched usurper.
Silence yourself.
May I die 1,000 painful deaths, lest I ever obey one who wears a veil.
If that's all that troubles you, then here, take my veil. Wrap it around your head and hold your tongue. Then take this basket, put on a girdle, cardwool and munch beans. The war shall be women's business.
Yes, yes. Lay aside your water pots. We will guard them. We will help our friends and companions.
For myself, I will never weary of the dance. My knees will never grow stiff with fatigue.
I will brave everything with my dear allies, on whom nature has lavished virtue, grace, boldness, cleverness, and whose wisely directed energy is going to save the state.
Oh, my gallant Lysistrata and all my friends, be ever like a bundle of nettles. Never let your anger slacken. The winds of fortune blow our way.
May the gentle love and sweet Cyprian queen shower seductive charms on our bosoms and all our person. If only we may stir so amorous a feeling among the men that they stand as firm as sticks, we shall indeed deserve the name of peacemakers among the Greeks.
And how do you propose that will be?
We shall not countenance you running into the market with your lance and fist.
What?
That will be a sight to please mine eyes.
You would deny us a chance to defend ourselves.
My dear magistrate, it is as if you think we intend to do you harm.
Ha! She slopped me wet.
Oh, you are not made of sugar. You did not melt.
That's not the point.
So you will deny us the chance to defend ourselves, leaving us vulnerable.
You see among the gathered women representatives of all major states in Greece. The oath we swore and the pact we made will send to the far corners of the land. Our voices will be carried by the great winds.
And what do you intend to use to appease our bitter enemies? Your yarns, your skeins, your feeble needles?
You, of all people, should know the power of a little prick.
Oh!
What
You
the?
tell him, sister.
We women will bring peace to all who threaten us.
As if you have the power. Ha!
When we are winding thread, and it is tangled, we pass the spool across and through the skein, now this way and now that way. Even so, to finish the war, we will send embassies hither and thither and everywhere to disentangle matters.
Such high opinion of your prowess.
What a wretched man. Why, it is a far heavier burden to us than you. In the first place, we bear sons who go off to fight far away from Athens.
As is your duty in the great chain of being.
Then, secondly, instead of enjoying the pleasures of love and making the best of our youth and beauty, we are left to languish far from our husbands, who are all in the army. But say no more of ourselves. What afflicts me is to see our girls growing old in lonely grief.
Don't men grow up too?
Men are allowed to. But when the soldier returns home from the wars, even though he has white hair, he very soon finds a young wife. But a woman only has one summer. If she does not make hay when the sun shines, no one will afterwards have anything to say to her. She spends her days consulting oracles that never send her a husband.
But old men who can still do.
But you, why don't you just get done with it and die? You are rich. Go buy yourself a beer, and I will knead you a honey cake for Cerberus. Here, take this garland.
And this one too.
And take a third.
Step aboard the boat. Charon is waiting for you. You're keeping him from pushing off.
What? I can't. You rogues! I shall go myself to my fellow magistrates, and we will soon put a stop to your foolishness.
To the men of Greece. Until you end this war and form lasting peace, we will lay with you, but not allow you to sully the temple of our bodies. We will be chaste to your pleadings as you grovel on your knees, unsated and unsatisfied. You will be to us but eunuchs, unworthy of the subtle pleasures of our flesh. If you do not end this war, we will place it in your hands and leave you to deal with it yourself.
7 days have passed since Lysistrata, in the clarion call of her cause and the full weight of her righteous hopes, has driven the passions of men to the lesser hands of pleasure. Boasted by her sisters in arms, the Acropolis stands, uneaten by the flames either of the pyre or masculine anger. The treasuries remain intact, dispensed only by the wisdom of the women of Greece. The prayers of men have not been answered by lightning arcing from the heavens, or a murder of crows to peck away at those they deem the nagging usurpers. The states of Greece still fight in far-off battlefields, but they have not fallen for being restrained by the demands of the fair sex. But how long can they hold to their warring among themselves? And perhaps as pressing, how long can Lysistrata's position hold among the women of the land?
Open the gates. Lysistrata approaches.
Lysistrata, what is it that has drawn a dark veil behind your eyes?
I am dejected by what I have seen.
What it is it? Pray, do not bear this knowledge alone.
I am afraid of the weakness of women that men so often taunt and laugh us about. It has appeared among some of our brethren.
What? Are they not holding to their oaths?
They are in passion, as if like newly blossomed soul in the first flush of Eros. The heat we all feel rising unabated within them. I fear their resolves are cracking under the strain of their husbands and their own bodies. The gods see fit to create us to feel pleasure, to need it. And now, that is to be the downfall of our cause.
Surely not. They may see pleasure elsewhere than by the whims and wills of men. Is Sappho not right to sing the praises for the love women can share? 1,000 men may stand before me strong, with dark shining spears encircling you, keeping you from me. But do they think this will stop me? I am willing to give my life, live and die 1,000 times, wear 1,000 different masks, cross oceans and stars to find you. The darkest forces are overcome by my burning love.
But did she not also say, "It is no use, mother dear. I cannot finish my weaving. You may blame Aphrodite, soft as she is. She has almost killed me with love for that boy."
If few should give in to the urges, we must not let it loosen our resolve.
Keep the faith strong. Do not let them extinguish that flame within you. We are here, and we will hold strong beside you.
I just wish I was as certain that we could outlast them.
Then let us remember a few more words Sappho left us. You may forget, but let me tell you this. Someone in our future time will think of us.
You're right. Our cause is not lost. In battle, do we decry those driven weak by the fighting their brief moments of rest so they may be ready to fight another day?
We do not.
As long as you have us beside you, together we will not yield. Our patience lasted 30 long years of the war, yet the men are roving the streets, stiff with rage. They have not lasted a week. If some of our sisters cannot hold, pity them, but let us not judge them. Let us hold strong for them.
Onward, sisters.
Can one of you take the watch?
Do you grow tired?
Uh, no, but I wish to retrieve from my home some wool. I fear if I wait any longer, it will have been devoured by worms.
See how the resolve so easily breaks.
I will return at once. Pray, believe me.
What is the fleece of a sheep to the trials of the broader world? Is it a sacrifice too dear to our cause to let it be consumed, so that this war can consume us no longer? We stand together. Will you stand with us? You who so bravely extinguished the flames at the gates of this sacred mount.
I would come right back.
If you were to leave, we cannot open the gates to you again. However harsh that may seem, I cannot bear the loss of another voice to our clarion call. Not until they can be raised again in triumph. Please, dear Stratylus, please will you stay? I will share with you a year of my wool when this is over in my gratitude for all you have done and all you may still achieve, please.
Yes, I will.
Oh, what is it? What?
A man. No, two. One young and one of old man who threatened us all when we secured the citadel.
What is that behind the young man's legs?
It's my husband, and he's brought our son. What do I do?
Look at the front of his robes. He is inflamed.
He no doubt comes to demand of you which he has been denied. Play coy. They are men, they like the hunt. Place upon the tip of your tongue the charms to drive him wild. Kalonike and Ismenia, gathering the armor of our kind so that he may be bedecked with it. Bring forth the most potent of scents of which we will use our wily, spirited way to allure him. We shall give him but a taste of that which he expects of us. With his passions already riled and standing at attention, you must seduce his senses and plead our case. Give him but the merest taste of what awaits him once we have been blessed by Nike's victory. Give him nothing but that our wine-bound oath denies.
They stand at the gate.
Who stands before the Mount of Athena?
It is the husband of Myrne. I have come to speak with her. I was told that she was here among the others in the Acropolis.
I can't do this. I'm not strong enough.
Breathe, dear sister. You struck down the magistrate with a single quip. Nurture that flame, for it is the power you always had within you.
And what is your business with her?
I come to plead that if she will not come for me, please come for our child. I seek not quarrel for myself, but that my child, who longs to gaze upon his mother's face.
Myrne, will you see him?
Open the gates to them.
Alas, I come rigid with grief at what has fallen between us. Oh, Myrne, I come. Please at least look at me, and if not, at your child.
Who dares to cross our line? For this citadel is by the grace of the goddess for which the city is named, is now the house of women. What man deems himself worthy?
Yes, I am a man, but a man which seeks to plead his case.
And your name?
Genesius, son of Paeon, husband of Myrne.
Oh. Your name is not unfamiliar to our ears. Your wife has it forever on her lips, and she never touches an egg or An apple without saying, "Oh, 'tis will be for Cinesius."
Truly, has she?
Oh, yes, indeed. By Aphrodite. And if we fall to talking of men, quick, your wife declares, "Oh, all the rest, they're no good compared to Cinesius."
But why then will she not look me in the face? Have I done something to wrong her?
That is to be seen. Do you wish me to speak with her?
Yes, I would give anything I own if I could just gaze upon her eyes once more.
I see nothing upon your persons that interests me.
Please, I beg of you, if not for me, but for my son's sake.
Fine. I will cede to your pleading. I will see if she wishes to oblige you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Marini, come speak with me. Are you prepared for the task at hand?
As prepared as ever I could be.
We have what you asked of us.
Take the tools of our trade and use them well. May the will of Artemis steady your nerves and bring you strength.
I'm ready.
My dear fellow, she has ceded to your request.
Quick, oh, be quick. Life has no more charms for me since you left my house. I am sad when I go indoors. It all seems so empty. My victuals have lost their savor. Desire is eating out my heart.
I love him. Oh, I love him. But he won't let himself be loved. No, I cannot come.
Oh, what coolness is the tongue of a woman driven to her wit's end.
Myrni, my little darling Myrni, what are you saying? Come down to me quick.
No, indeed. Not I.
I call you, Myrni, Myrni. Will you not come?
Why should you call me? You do not want me.
Not want you? Why, here I stand stiff with desire.
Oh, such slyness! How deftly she plays his lusts against him, allowing his hunger to eat him inside, to break his resolve.
Goodbye.
And she did not think she had the spine for it.
Oh, Myrni, Myrni, in our child's name, hear me. At any rate, hear the child. Little lad, call your mother. There, listen, don't you pity the poor child? It's 7 days now you've never washed and never fed the child.
Poor darling, does your father take so little care of you in my absence? I do this for your sake.
Ungrateful whelp.
Silence, or I shall fetch my water pot once more.
Come down, dearest. Come down for the child's sake.
A battle of wills, but what cause does he truly fight for but for his own physical needs and desires? What possibly could be more important than her love for her child, for whom she fights, so they may not end up spilled forth on some unseen battlefield?
If I must, for my child, I will come down.
Oh, why, how much younger and prettier she looks. And how she looks at me so lovingly. Her cruelty and scorn only redouble my passion.
Oh, my dear boy, let me place your cheek, the blessing of my kiss, for you are as sweet as your father is provoking. Come here, my darling treasure.
What a bad thing it is to let yourself be led away by other women. Why do you see fit to give me such pain and suffering, and upon yourself into the bargain, no doubt?
Take your hands off me, sir.
Myrrhine, all I seek is that we be united as we once were.
United? When have we ever truly been?
But we love each other. In your absence, the house has fallen into wreck and ruin.
I care not.
But your weft and weave has fallen away, eaten by moths.
Oh,
It is but a trifle compared to what is at stake here.
And Aphrodite, whose mysteries you have not celebrated for so long. Oh, won't you come back home?
Not in the least. Not until a signed treaty is placed forth to bring an end to this war. If Aphrodite had disapproved, would she not have given sign and warning?
If it is your wish, then yes, we will make your treaty.
Well and good. When that is done, I will come home. Till then, I am bound by an oath.
But may we not be together for a short time at the very least? I have promised. Can you not trust me at my word?
And what of your many words that soon the war would be over? For too many years to count, you had given me word that the one thing I dream of above all else would come to pass. And then you return from assembly with no cessation. Until I see the treaty with my own eyes, I will honor my wine-bound oath.
But you love me. You said so yourself. But for all your pronouncements of such love, you refuse to lay with me?
In front of our child? Surely not. You must be joking.
Old man, you came to get me to aid your cause. But I must ask something of you. Take my child back to my home. Await me there.
Don't fall for their tricks. These women, there is something unnatural about them. Thinking they have the right to rise above their station. Curse Prometheus for molding women from the clay and breathing life into them. He should have given them no mouth to talk back with. Like Pandora, they only bring troubles.
Please, I beg of you.
And where are we to partake? Surely not in this holy citadel.
We shall lay within the cave of Pan. Nothing could be more suitable.
And once I've been made unkempt, how will I purify myself to be worthy once more to enter the Acropolis?
We will stop by the clepsydra.
But my oath! Do you really wish me to see me perjure myself?
Please, I beg, only of that which I have always asked. Have I not been a good husband? Have I not provided for you? Do you not take joy in the act?
Surely not as hired as you are, dressed in dirty, unwashed clothes, wrinkled like an unattended sack. It disgusts me. How can such an act ever be considered worthy now?
Are we to be dressed?
Kalanike, bring me that robe. If you are not to be worthy, drape this on your body and over your head. There can be no pleasure for the musk of your unwashed hair. Is a man truly not able to gather and warm the water for a bath?
So begins the dance. Let us see how he handles bearing the social shackles men imposed on the women of Greece for the gratification of men's senses.
I will do it. I will do as you ask. Anything for the release from my prison. There. I have done what you asked of me.
No, something still is not right. The smell, it lingers. It burning the nostrils is many a bring forth something with which to mask the odors. Now dab some of this between your wrists, almost the fetid still lingers. Place more behind your ears.
Oh my, this is strong enough to get drunker than Dionysus on.
Almost.
My, friend is here, awaiting us both.
Aw, he brought his little friend.
What more can you ask of me? Must I get down on my knees to plead and beg and debase myself?
Is this not what you've asked me since the night of our nuptials? You can call on me to dress in my finery and waft myself with sweet, intoxicating scents. You demand me to make myself worthy of your body. So now I've given you the same task. You have begun to make yourself worthy of me.
Begun? I've done everything you asked.
I see no treaty in my hand. I told you that when this war is ended, we will be united once more. That is truly all you need do to be worthy of me. I fear for my son every day this war drags on. I know he will be sent to the front lines, and there he may forever stay, leaving me alone to make tributes to the gods in his name and in his memory. If I'm strong enough to withhold the pleasures I so desperately deserve, how are you, my husband, not strong enough to save me that pain? I love you. I will call it to the heavens, for it is true. And I do all this for love of you.
The magistrate has returned, and he has a herald with him.
Let them in, and we shall hear the message they bring.
We come bearing dispatches from the front.
And who comes with you? He is unfamiliar to our eyes. Why should we trust that he is not an assassin?
I assure you, he is not a Propius. For that you see is not a dagger from which to kill. Not that you take any interest in it.
By the twin brethren, the man's an old maniac.
We know.
Speak your message.
I come from the lands of the Lacedaemonians.
And what message do my people bring us?
Well, speak out frankly. I know all about these matters. How are things going at Sparta now?
Why, everything is turned upside down in Sparta. It's crazy, and all the allies are half dead with lusting.
And what is the reason of it all? Is it the god Pan's doing?
No, of Arif, if it's any fault of the gods. No, it is Lampito. Because of her, the women of Sparta, acting on her instructions, have kicked the men out of their houses and bolted the doors to them.
And what have they done, these men of Sparta?
Oh, we are at our wits' end. They walk bent double as if they were carrying lanterns in the wind. Even the Jades have sworn we shall not so much as touch them till we have all agreed to conclude peace.
And what say you, magistrate? They send heralds seeking peace. What say you?
So I see now. 'Tis a general conspiracy embracing all Greece. Go you back to Sparta and bid them send envoys with plenary powers to treat for peace. I will urge our senators myself to name emissaries from us and to persuade them. Why, I will show them something else. Canisius, you number yourself among our assembly. Gather them to the Senate at once.
And with treaty in hand, you shall have me once more.
Hail, boldest and bravest of womankind. The time has come to show yourself, In turn, uncompromising and conciliatory, exacting and yielding, haughty and condescending. Call up all your skill and artfulness. Lo, the foremost men in Hellas, seduced by your fascinations, are agreed to entrust you with the task of ending their quarrels.
'Tis will be an easy task, if only us women refrain from mutual indulgence in masculine love. If they do, I shall know the fact at once. But look you, no roughness or violence. Our husbands always behave so boorishly. Bring them to me with smiles, as women should. If any refuse to give you his hand, then catch him and draw him politely forward. Bring up the Athenians. Laconians approach. Now, hearken all. I am but a woman, but I have good common sense. Nature has dowered me with discriminating judgment, which I have yet further developed thanks to the wise teachings of my father and the elders of this city. First, I must bring a reproach against you that applies equally to both sides. At Olympia, Thermopylae, and Delphi, and a score of other places too numerous to mention, you celebrate before the same altars ceremonies common to all Hellenes, yet you go on cutting each other's throats and sacking Hellenic cities, when all the while the barbarian is yonder threatening you. That is my first point.
But you must...
Let her speak.
Now it is to you I address myself, Laconians. Have you forgotten how Pericleides, your own countryman, sat a suppliant before our altars? How pale he was in his purple robes. He had come to crave an army of us. 'Twas the time when Messenia was pressing you sore and the sea god was shaking the earth. Cimon marched to your aid at the head of 4,000 hoplites and saved Lacedaemonians. And after such a service as that, you ravaged the soil of your benefactors.
Hear her truth.
And now a word to the Athenians. Have you no memory left of how, in the days when you wore the tunic of the oppressed, the Laconians came, spear in hand, and a slew of other Thessalians and partisans of Hippias the tyrant? They, and only they, fought on your side on that eventful day. They delivered you from despotism, and thanks to them, our nation could change the short tunic of the servile for the long cloak of the free man.
The gods have inflamed her tongue with truths.
This war has cost us more than our pride and wasted more than our treasure. The squabbles between those who once counted each other as their allies have bled these lands of life and turned friends against each other. It has placed the burden of a mother kissing the forehead of her son, knowing never if she would ever see him again. You have laid at our sides, and we knew not if you would return from the fronts. You have counted us out, as if our feelings are lesser, like you have unappreciated it as what we can bring to Greece. With a treaty in our hands of peace and reconciliation, our oath will be fulfilled. And so too we will fulfill our oaths to you, our husbands. But know this, we are not the willow tree. We sway to the winds no longer.
If it will bring peace to our lands and our beds.
That hangs solely upon you.
Then by my oath to you, it will be done.
See to it. And let us never allow pride to come between us again.
And so the herald returned to Sparta, carrying the news that the Athenian assembly had agreed to peace with the people of the Peloponnese. The cacophonous din of the women's protests were replaced by the triumphant echoes of celebrations as a respite from the battle after 30 long years. As the shields were hung back up on the walls, peace, too, was restored to the homes of men and women alike. The citadel of the Acropolis opened its doors, but not without the threat of what had passed. For the women of Greece had power the men had been foolish not to realize. And they walked the streets, their heads held high in their victory. Lysistrata was revered among the women, old crone and sprightly maid, for what she brought to them, hope. In the end, Sappho was right. You may forget, but let me tell you this, someone in some future time will think of us.
Hello, my name is Cory Warren, and I was the director and adapter of Lysistrata Slamsador. I want to thank you for joining us this evening to share in this classic Greek comedy. When I was asked to direct a play for Majesticpiece Theater, I had not expected that a few days after selecting Lysistrata as my play, we would witness the great rising up of the American people in acts of civil disobedience in regard to inequity and inequality within our society. Without meaning to, this play took on a greater significance in the current climate than I could have ever expected. I therefore want to thank the amazing people who helped bring it to fruition in such a quick time. I want to give a shout out to my amazing cast: Michael Wren, Diane Slamp, Misha Britton, Ellie Smith, Carlissa Jones, Nancy Homan, Bob Greenwade, Joanna Spencer, Ryan McWayne, Brandon Urie, Lucas McKinney, and Ken Fankhauser. I also want to express my deepest gratitude to Jimbo Ivey and the City of Corvallis for providing support for keeping the theater alive in the time of COVID-19. I want to thank Chad Howard, our stage manager, for handling the technical sides of making this work. And I also want to thank Rachel Kohler, who is huge support in getting this play up and running. As we continue on the path before us, I hope you will all take one thing from Aristophanes' story. In times of uncertainty and struggle, we must never allow ourselves to be silent. Thank you. And please stay tuned to hear the upcoming opportunities brought to you by Majestic Theater.